Volume 12.5 is definitely one of the best volumes in the classroom of the Elite series. Maybe top 3, definitely top 5. It's already common knowledge for the readers that Volume 0.5 is usually way more interesting than a regular volume because it contains a lot of information and builds up for future conflict. However, Volume 12.5 is even more exciting because it answers all of the questions that had been bugging us for the entire second year arc. The promise, the breakup, Atsuomi arrival, and finally the class transfer. Let's take a look at it one by one. Volume 12 leaves us with a great cliffhanger, leaving to big questions that need to be answered. Either Sakayanagi will leave the school or not, and how the class will react after Ayanokoji expels Meizono. On Ayanokoji's side, he could explain why he expelled Meizono with a flawless logic, but feels anticlimactic. It's a shame that Meizono didn't do anything such as exposing Ayanokoji's secret to the entire class, but Ayanokoji's actions still ended up leaving a hint of doubt inside his classmates. Some of them even questioning if Ayanokoji was intentionally expelling students because of the fact that he was always involved in every expulsion in their class. However, their suspicions eventually replaced by the joy of reaching Class A. The fact that Ayanokoji managed to beat Ichinose in a battle secured his position as one of the most influential figures in class and somehow led the class to realize that Ayanokoji is more than what they think they know. On the other side, Ichinose class was clouded in despair. This is their second loss in the final special exam, and they were falling behind the other 3 classes in terms of class points. And yet, they keep repeating the same word over and over again.
This is not anybody's fault. We still have a chance. Don't give up.
The naivety of Ichinose class still doesn't change even after 2 years. Even after falling into Class D, they keep clinging to a hope that doesn't exist. Even Kanzaki, who had a plan to change his class, cannot say anything after his embarrassing performance against Horikita in Volume 12. At the end, the one who woke them up is their homeroom teacher, Hoshinomiya. Hoshinomiya was pissed after Chabashira class finally reached Class A. She cannot tolerate her class positive aura and shut them down with the truth. This is the fact that nobody wanted to hear. Their class is finished. They no longer have any chance to win. Even if they still have a year left, no one in the class has the power to bring them up. All they have is just friendship, and based optimism, and the broken Ichinose. And the last conclusion from the final special exam is Sakayanagi confirmed expulsion. It's a real surprise that she really decided to leave the school, because I never thought Ryuen would accept the final exam outcome. However, Sakayanagi chose to fulfill her promise and withdraw voluntarily. Sakayanagi is one of the most popular girls in the series, so Kinugasa's decision to write her off is unexpected and definitely risky. However, I feel like I could see a new layer of Sakayanagi character. The reason for her withdrawal might not just be a simple love or rivalry, but the truth is, she took a pity on Ayanokoji. Ayanokoji never knew freedom before enrolling at ANHS, and after he graduates, he will lose that freedom. He only has 1 year left while Sakayanagi has her entire life to do what she wants. That's why she chose to step down and let Ayanokoji do what he wants to do in his remaining time. Some people might think her action was selfish and irresponsible. After all, she should have prioritized her class instead of herself. However, I feel like Sakayanagi already saw the future. It's amazing how far she saw through Ayanokoji's plan, but she knows that her class will be fine. She had already prepared everything for her class and let Ayanokoji take charge. By letting Ayanokoji lead her class, I think it's the best responsible action she could do. I think she wants to make Ayanokoji indebted to her, but she only asks for a hug and a promise that they will meet again outside the school. She might only leave for a year, but for us the readers, it will take 5 or 6 years until we could see her again. That will be a long 6 years for us Sakayanagi fans. For a note, it seems like Sakayanagi will be transferred to the same school as Kamuro. Let's just hope she will not meet Yamochi out there. The end of Ayanokoji and Kei relationship is inevitable. We have known it ever since the beginning, but it doesn't make it any easier. For Ayanokoji, Kei is just a textbook to learn about love. He learns about the opposite sex, he learns how it feels to have someone special, and now he needs to learn how it feels to say goodbye. This part of the novel is told using perspectives from both sides. Starting from Ayanokoji before their date, and then from Kei's perspective until the end. There is nothing interesting from Ayanokoji's side. He is still hoping that this breakup will inflict something inside him, such as feeling heavy to let her go, or feeling empty after losing her. However, it is really interesting that Kinugasa decided to use K-perspective when they break up, as if he wants to hide what ayanokoji feels during that process. I really hope that ayanokoji actually feels something. After all, you will only realize what you have after you losing it. Kinugasa's decision to use K-perspective makes this scene a lot sadder than necessary. It's already painful to know they will break up, but the way K handles it puts more meaning on this scene. K realizes ayanokoji never truly loved her, and yet she was holding their relationship because she knows ayanokoji is the most important person to her, so she tries her best to make ayanokoji fall in love for real. Her effort bore no fruit, but she just accepted it and didn't try to be desperate. She understands ayanokoji to some extent, so she knows ayanokoji didn't want to see her crying. K acting strong, because she needs to be strong. After all, ayanokoji is no longer on her side. She cannot always become a parasite that cannot live without clinging to someone. It's time for her to walk on her own, because that is what ayanokoji was hoping from her. However, just for this time, let's cry to ease your heart. Back in Volume 12, Hoshinomiya tries to seduce ayanokoji to let her class win. She failed because ayanokoji was only interested in virgin girls, and I thought her role was ended just like that. However, it turns out her hatred is not that shallow to just over in a single volume. Hoshinomiya was actually unable to do anything to stop Chabashira class from reaching Class A, but ayanokoji chose to use her for his plan. Hoshinomiya is the representation of students who failed to graduate from Class A. She cannot let go of her anger and regret and chose to blame everything on Chabashira. I'm not sure why ayanokoji wants to take advantage of her, but if we look at the future development, having another teacher on his side will help him in his plan. With ayanokoji leaving Chabashira and having a deal with Ichinose, Hoshinomiya's support will help him to create balance between four classes. And I don't think Hoshinomiya part will stop with just that much. If Horikita manages to challenge ayanokoji and defend their position as Class A, Hoshinomiya will do everything she can to take them down, this time, with whatever means necessary. Atsuomi's arrival already gives me goosebumps even since it was mentioned in Volume 11. Seeing him acting like a good parent makes me want to throw up. But he came bringing the most important scene that will become the foundation of the third-year arc, the meeting with President Kouenji. Kouenji's father's arrival was within expectation, but Kijima's presence is definitely unexpected. Kijima already came to school to watch the final special exam of the second year. He said he wanted to watch Kouenji, but given that the special exam itself was changed because of him, I'm pretty sure he actually came to see ayanokoji. Kijima is already aware of ayanokoji, especially because ANHS has undergone so many changes in the past 2 years. For reminder, Kijima knows about the White Room and the fact that it could bring harm toward his party, because the White Room was founded under no instruction. The conflict between Kijima and Atsuomi is bound to happen. That's why Kijima let Atsuomi enter the room. The conversation between these three big people really makes Chairman Sakayanagi look so small. It's a shame that we didn't get any info about the Kijima secret facility, and there is no indication that Kouenji was educated there. However, the bet between President Kouenji and Atsuomi could open up a lot of possibilities for the future. The battle between Kouenji and ayanokoji will affect all of them who were present in the room. If ayanokoji manages to win, it will be bad for Kijima because President Kouenji is his biggest investor. Maybe he will send someone to disturb the battle between them, so we need to expect a new student will appear in the third-year arc. However, if Kouenji manages to win, it will be very bad for Atsuomi because it will taint the title of his greatest masterpiece. To prevent it, maybe he will send another White Room student or give an order to Ishigami to help ayanokoji. That means the battle between ayanokoji and Kouenji will not become just the two of them. However, how about ayanokoji and Kouenji themselves? Kouenji doesn't care about competition between kindergartens, but he did acknowledge ayanokoji's ability to some extent. His original plan was to use 20 million points to transfer to Class A before graduation, but ayanokoji action makes it unclear which class will definitely win at the end. Now with the order from his father, Kouenji has no choice but to take it seriously. It's been a long time debate whether Kouenji is stronger than ayanokoji or not. However, I strongly believe that Kouenji will not be able to do some serious damage to ayanokoji. If he could easily do that, ayanokoji's entire plan to create balance between four classes would be useless, and the story would not be much exciting. From their conversation, Kouenji clearly told the difference between him and ayanokoji. While ayanokoji learned immeasurable knowledge, Kouenji limited himself to just a bare minimum of knowledge and left the rest to his creativity. If ayanokoji found a way using countless references from the past, Kouenji simply let his mind wander freely so he could always find a way that was unique and original, just like what he did in the treasure hunting game. This will become a battle between knowledge versus instinct. If ayanokoji believes that Kouenji will be a shackle to Horikita, he will surely annihilate him. I guess Kouenji will suffer a defeat against ayanokoji. Having his pride shattered, Kouenji will learn to cooperate, and that will be the moment of development for him to become truly perfect. In the middle of chaos and excitement, this Hiyori scene feels really out of place and forced. I don't see many reasons why she appears in this volume, but she needs to be there, because she is the cover girl. At first I didn't like this scene, but after rereading, I feel like the meeting between ayanokoji, Hiyori, and Ishizaki becomes the reminiscent moment for ayanokoji. Ishizaki invites ayanokoji to his class as usual, and this time ayanokoji is wondering what will happen if he accepts the offer. He has a good relationship with some members of the Riwin class, and he could potentially become a lover with Hiyori. After the second year is over, there is no one else who threatens ayanokoji. Yagami is gone, Sakayanagi is gone, and his father will not bother him for the rest of his school life. He could easily leave the class battle to Riwin and enjoy the normal high school life that he always wanted at the beginning of the series. However, ayanokoji chose to refuse. The dull ayanokoji who only wanted a peaceful life is long gone. Right now ayanokoji has a true goal that he wants to accomplish before he loses his freedom. To leave something behind, to leave an impression in the mind of people who know him. For his goal, he is willing to let go of his peaceful life. I'm not sure if ayanokoji really changed as a person, but at least he is no longer the same person as the guy who refused to give his seat to an old lady. And now let's talk about the most controversial and the most talked spoiler from this volume. After reading this scene, it's clear that Ichinose is already beyond help. Even after getting destroyed and humiliated, she still believes that ayanokoji did that for her sake and cannot bring herself to hate ayanokoji because she is madly in love with him. Actually, it's terrifying to see how far the feeling called love could blind someone. However, despite how insightful it is, this could potentially become a very good development for Ichinose. Ichinose always had trouble with her mental state. Most of that problem came from her feelings for ayanokoji. Now that she finally fulfilled her greatest lust, she might be able to think clearly with a new level of sharpness. Ichinose plan to trap ayanokoji deserves to get praise. She lured him to her room and bound him by the school rules about night hours. When ayanokoji offered her two choices, she chose the third option to surprise ayanokoji. After all this time getting controlled, Ichinose was finally able to stop playing on ayanokoji's hand and force ayanokoji to rethink his plan. And then, their wedding night begins. I don't think Ichinose wants to go that far. It's ayanokoji who starts undressing her. Looking at Ichinoses' choice of outfit, I cannot really blame him. Even without emotion, ayanokoji is still a teenage boy with the instinct of reproduction. From ayanokoji's perspective, Ichinose needs him as the source of strength, so he gives her what she wants. However, I'm worried because they didn't use any protection. Ayanokoji didn't expect things to go that way, so he definitely didn't bring any contraceptives with him. And I don't think Ichinose would prepare something like that. Even if she did, it will definitely too small for ayanokoji. Atsuomi will laugh very hard if he hears ayanokoji got expelled for getting a girl pregnant, so let's pray no one will end up with a baby before graduation. The future looks so uncertain for Horikita. After spending 2 whole years resisting ayanokoji's charm, she finally joined the harem club at a very bad moment. When ayanokoji jokingly offered her to become his girlfriend, Horikita started to realize that ayanokoji had already become an irreplaceable pillar of her high school life. She might not realize it, but ayanokoji is always there for her. He had already become the closest person to her without Horikita realizing. However, I wonder how Horikita will react when that pillar of support is suddenly gone and even opposes her. With ayanokoji leaving the class, Horikita no longer has any safety net that will protect her in a tough time. Ayanokoji will become her enemy, and he will teach her that there is a reality that she cannot defeat. The class that she built will crumble in front of her eyes, and then Horikita's final exam will officially start. Ayanokoji already brought the class to Class A, and now Horikita needs to prove that she is worthy to hold that position. That will be hard, or maybe impossible, but Ayanokoji will never do that if he doesn't believe Horikita has a chance. And even if he already knows the result, he is still hoping for a different future. It's no exaggeration to say that Horikita will be the one who is responsible for changing Ayanokoji. Their role already prepared for so long, and the third-year battle will mainly focus on them. It depends on Horikita. Either she could defeat the masterpiece of the White Room and prove Ayanokoji wrong, or unable to do it and regret it forever. Before we go to the last part of the volume, I just want to make it clear that this volume is great but still left me with a few disappointments. The first one is Kinugasa choice to write off the senior student just like that. There is no graduation party, and not even the last moment between Ayanokoji and Nagumo. Compared to Manabu, Nagumo is still done dirty even to the last volume. Even Nagumo planned to collect points to transfer a few students into Class A didn't get any clear conclusion. I wonder why Kinugasa hates Nagumo so much. Another thing that left me unsatisfied is the fact that Atsuomi didn't bring enough information to let us guess what exactly his plan was by sending Ayanokoji to ANHS, with Ishigami and Tsubasa still in school. He must have something more in his head, but refused to share it with the readers. I'm sure we will know more about them in the third-year arc, but it still feels wasted because we will not see Atsuomi again for a long time. And the last one is not really a disappointment, but I feel like we just wasted a lot of chances to know more about the character during the three-party meeting. If Kinugasa wants to do it, he could bring back Manabu as Horikita Guardian. It also will be interesting if we could see Ryuen's parent or Ichinose mother, but I guess introducing new characters for only a single volume is not really an effective thing to do. Ayanokoji leaving Horikita and transferring to another class was already hinted and speculated since Volume 6. After almost 3 years, we finally see it become reality. However, it is really a surprise that he chose to transfer to the former Class A. A lot of people speculated that he would transfer to the Ichinose class because Ichinose class had been left behind for a long time. But it seems like Ayanokoji needs to do some adjustment. Looks like Ayanokoji's original plan was to expel Ichinose and replace her as class leader, so he can fight against Horikita, Ryuen, and Sakayanagi. However, Sakayanagi and Ryuen bet for withdrawal force Ayanokoji to take a decision. At the end, he chose to keep Ryuen and replace Sakayanagi as the leader. However, I wonder what will happen if Ichinose accepts Ayanokoji's offer and withdraws from school. That means the former Class A will have no leader and will be driven out of competition. It will be a hard time for Ayanokoji to fight with his new classmates, with just a year left and more than 500 class points to be chased. But this time Ayanokoji will get serious from the start, and he will definitely leave his presence to the entire school. No matter if you were ready or not, the third-year arc will finally begin.